I was really excited the other morning to read in the newspaper that Attorney General Eric Holder is considering investigations and prosecutions of those who brought shame on this country by engaging in torture. Unfortunately, when you read the details about who he wants to prosecute, well, his ideas just don't hold water. News reports have indicated that Attorney General Eric Holder is seriously considering investigating and perhaps prosecuting those who engaged in torture in this country during the Bush administration years. Unfortunately, when you start to read the details, it's not such good news, because the plans seem to be only to prosecute those who went beyond the legal memos issued by John Yoo authorizing the torture in the first place. This would be just like Abu Ghraib, just going after the lowest-ranking people. John Yoo, as you may recall, with tortured legal logic, authorized torture as a policy of this country. Let me give you an example of who Eric Holder is considering prosecuting. The John Yoo memos authorized the use of tying people up in painful positions as a means of torture during interrogation. That's right. The Yoo memos authorized the use of painful tying up with rope as a means of torture. But, very humanely, John Yoo set limits on how long a prisoner could be tied up and tortured this way. If one of the interrogators exceeded those time limits, he may become a target of Eric Holder's investigation. Not John Yoo, who authorized the torture and defined how long you could be tied up, but the person who might have left the prisoner tied up too long. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Here's another example. The John Yoo torture memos authorized interrogators to put prisoners in freezing cold rooms so that they could hardly think straight, and certainly so they couldn't get any sleep. And again, the torture memos were very specific about certain temperatures and how long you could leave prisoners in there. If you set the thermostat a little too low, you're liable for prosecution. Yep, if you set the thermostat too low, you're guilty. But not John Yoo. He only authorized it and set the limits. And finally, we come to the most infamous torture method of them all, waterboarding. And once again, the John Yoo torture memos set limits. That's right, they defined how much water a prisoner could be tortured with. And if you use too much water, then Eric Holder's coming after you, but not John Yoo. Listen, I'm glad Eric Holder is going to investigate. We need to investigate torture during the Bush years. But this going after low-level people, it's just a repeat of the Abu Ghraib investigation. The real authors of torture in this country were George Bush, Dick Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, and the raft of lawyers like John Yoo who authorized it using tortured legal logic. Those are the targets that should be gone after, investigated, and prosecuted.